Hi, my name is Helen, and I'm going to be doing this morning's devotion on Luke 21 verses 1 to 4. And this is one of those occasions, I don't know if you've ever been talking to anybody and you notice that they have sort of lost eye contact with you and their eyes have just flicked to the side of you, or maybe just over your head, and they seem to be noticing something just over your head and behind you. And I think this is one of those stories that's a bit like that. Anyway, so I'll go into it. Context is Jesus has entered Jerusalem, and he is he has wept over Jerusalem, over the lost opportunities of people to know him and to discover God's love and salvation in them. So he has cried over them. He's done some public battles with the religious upholders of the faith of the time. So I've got this little figure. I like to have little story figures. He's told a really horrific parable about violence and murder and destruction, which is quite shocking. He's had spies sent out to infiltrate the crowd he's speaking to try and bring him down. And he's also about to reveal the horrors that the people around him are going to face in the times ahead. It's already public. It's already close up and quite confrontational. And I'm sure for the disciples it was a very difficult time. And in the middle of all this, when he's sitting talking to crowds in the temple, his eyes just flick up and away from them because he's noticed something in the background. While all this massive stuff is going on around him, and his head must have been full of it, but he notices something small, and this is the reading from that. Jesus looked up and saw the rich putting their gifts into the offering box. I think I've been watching too much Taskmaster. Anyway, here we go. So here's the rich putting their offerings into the offering box. And he saw, corner of his eye, a poor widow put in 2 small copper coins. And he said, this is Jesus, "Truly I tell you, this poor widow has put in more than all of them. For they all contributed out of their abundance," so their abundance, "but she out of her poverty put in all she had to live on." And Jesus, who's in the midst of battles, verbal battles, notices this. So I'm just going to do a very simple thought through it. Is what does it tell me about Jesus? And the thoughts I had over this, I was mulling over in it, was that I love Jesus so much because he is a fearless warrior, and he speaks the truth and fights lies no matter what the situation. And I love Jesus because he takes on the big stuff, the kind of the massive upheavals of the world, the huge swinging changes of the world. He turns big things upside down, massive things. And I love Jesus because in the midst of it all, he notices a poor widow giving her life to God. And I love that about Jesus. In the midst of the massive stuff, he notices this poor widow giving her 2 tiny copper coins. And that made me ask quite a lot of questions about this story. And I am looking forward to talking them through with this lady and with Jesus when I'm in heaven. Because the kind of questions I've got are like, did she give Jesus some hope in the midst of all this stuff that was happening. Did she remind Jesus that God had a plan, and his plan was to put the gospel into the hands of the least likely, the smallest, the frailest, the overlooked, the bypassed, the fringy. And did it remind him, and did it give him that sense of hope that it was okay for him to go? And did she know that she was noticed? I don't know. I mean, I don't know any answers to these things, but did she know that she was noticed? And was this her first time going there and putting in her 2 tiny copper coins, or was this something she'd always done? Was this her daily devotion? Was this what her life was like? Is this what she did all the time and had been doing for a long time? Or was this her coming to Jesus, or coming to God the Father for the first time and giving him her life? I've got questions about all of that. And then it made me it's made me think that the big stuff is really important. So the big massive stuff that Jesus does, and that some people are called to be part of, is really important. But not all of us are called to that kind of stuff. But I kind of had a sort of a picture in a way that I could see that the whole world, you have to imagine countries. I didn't have any countries on my balloon, but I had this sort of picture of like the whole world full of millions and millions of people, and they are doing, and it's like the world was shimmering because they were doing all this stuff, all this tiny stuff all over the world, this day by day, giving their whole lives, giving our whole lives, doing the small stuff all the time, living it out. The daily kindness, the prayers, the healings, the kind words, the encouragements to other Christians, the sharing the Gospels in tiny places with a few words and a few moments, or over a meal and taking hours. All this stuff going on all over the world, and it was like all these tiny bits and bobs everywhere, and how powerful that is. How powerful that is. And I am convinced that it's all noticed and it's all seen and it's all part of the big picture. And this is the way that God has chosen to do it. Yes, with big things, but with each of us giving our lives, giving our tiny little copper coins. It's only a small thing I'm saying, and I hope it's useful. I'll let you say your own prayers and keep doing your stuff because it matters and it's noticed.